Okay, let's see if I can do this. So what is CAPSVentures AED? Now, I want to make sure to let you know that I am going to be looking at some notes that I have on my computer by the phone in order to make sure that I'm covering all the points I wanted to. The of my channel tells a little bit more. It tells my name, Cindy Austin. So part of CAPS, the first part of CAPS, the CA, is my name, the initials to my name, Cindy Austin. Then I have postscript. And interestingly, that provides a little bit more detail, especially when you're looking at the definition of the postscript, which says an additional remark at the end of a letter after the signature and introduced by PS. Hence, PS. And that's the CAPS, CAPS, CAPSVentures, Cindy Austin's postscript. I want to get a little bit more in detail about postscript because it's important. So if you look at the additional part of the definition, there is more on this definition. It says an additional statement or action that provides further information on or a sequel to something. So that really defines a lot about CAPSVentures and what it means, in that it's additional actions to my life, even though I have multiple sclerosis and that has become secondary progressive, which means that I have become disabled. But you have probably noticed I went into some detail about postscript, and that probably tells you a little bit of something about my personality. And so hopefully you'll just be okay with that, because I do get very detailed. In fact, I call this detail-oriented. Some people might call it perfectionist or something like that. But having the detail orientation can be a little bit of a challenge when you have SPMS. But that's okay. I'm going to try to work with it anyway. So, ventures, well, that's the actions I can take to accomplish taking care of myself and my needs. And when I started this channel in 2018, I had plans of taking the shed in my backyard and turning it into an auxiliary dwelling that I would in time be able to live in and rent out the house, and that rent from the house would pay for the mortgage, for some of the utilities, and help with the maintenance on both dwellings, knowing that I was going to have to retire in a few years. Now, at that time, I didn't have progressive MS. Now, on to the AED part of CAPSVentures AED. Now, later in life, after my youngest children were in school and I wasn't doing great in a sales career at the time, I could be gone from home during the day without requiring a babysitter, and I chose to go to a secondary college, and I graduated with an associate's degree in architectural drafting and design. And one of my instructors had recommended me for a drafting position with a landscaping company just 2 weeks before I graduated. And I did get to go to work involved with landscape drafting and drafting the designs for that landscaper. And it was a very nice position. It allowed me to use my drafting in a different way than I had gone to college for. And it was a really excellent experience. However, a few months later, my husband moved us to another state. And the area where we moved to was a higher tech area. And so AutoCAD was now doing well. And it was really even a requirement when I went to school in college. In fact, after I had learned a little bit about DOS, enough to be able to go on and do some work in AutoCAD, which was in its infancy at that time, I didn't do very well. And trying to draw with a computer, well, I'm sorry, I just didn't get it. For me, it takes artistic talent, really. Detailed artistic talent and architectural knowledge to have a house plan in your mind and then get it down on paper to make it so it can become a blueprint or a blue line print, and then you can build a house from it. Now, since we were moving into this high-tech area, had moved into this high-tech area, I was not really able to get a job. I didn't have the experience needed. I didn't have any AutoCAD skills, really. And so I had to try to do something else. I made an attempt to do some freelance residential and landscape designs. I did have a couple of jobs, but my husband had us moving 2 more times after that within a relatively short period of time. And that added to my inability to get architectural work. So I continued my efforts to do some freelance home improvement and landscape design. And I named my freelance company Alternative Environmental Designs. And that was because I wanted to be able to incorporate renewable energy into my plans. I had experience in solar renewable energy. I was a salesperson before my last set of twins were born. And I was still convinced that renewable energy is the best for energy needs to help not only with the cost savings to individuals, but also with the environment. And it's very important, and that is to me. So renewable energy at that time was having growing pains, and needed more knowledge and more technology and so on, and to make it even a viable source of energy for the everyday family or everyday home. But it was still something I wanted to have involvement in my company. So after all that added information, you likely have figured out AED is the acronym for Alternative Environmental Designs. I am very hopeful that I'm going to be able to use AED, Alternative Environmental Designs, in the process of upgrading my little home, which is an RV, without any kind of demolition, and working on it next to a $0 budget. And I'm hoping that some of the skills I learned I will be able to actually put on paper and be able to use it. That's just something I would like to be able to do. I love architecture. I would like to have architecture more in my life, but I'm limited, and maybe in time I'll be able to use AED to help others. Maybe in time. We'll just see how that works out. So, CAPSVentures AED is Cindy Austin's post-growth ventures in alternative environmental designs and drafting. CAPSVentures and AED is a part of my history, and I want it to help me to make a statement in my life despite having disabilities. Perhaps some of the things I do will help give ideas to other people for their needs, things that they want to do. Maybe it'll just spark something in their mind that will help them to be able to achieve some of the things that they want to do. And that could be even just by learning from not doing what I do, or learning from my mistakes. And so I think, and I hope, that answers the question, what is CAPSVentures AED? So now the question is, what do you do when you have no retirement savings? Which a lot of people are in that position. And you have to rely on Social Security because the disability limits you to what you are capable of doing. So in my next part, in my next video, part 2 of what is CAPSVentures AED, I will get a little bit more into home economics, and also want to include why I need to make sure to pay off my credit card debt within a year. That is by December 31st, 2025. Some of the efforts that I'm going to be making, some of the efforts I have made, and I may not be able to do it, but I'm going to do what I can. So I hope everybody is doing well. Take care. P.S. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment to let me know what you think about the name of my channel. And if you like, subscribe to follow my ventures.